Hey guys, this is Syed Hussain from Research Leads, and I'm back today with an episode on sales. A lot of people in this group here, and I keep bumping into a lot of people from sales and marketing, asking the same question over and over again: How do we generate good leads, better leads, and how do we make more sales? I see a lot of conversations happening, a lot of information passing hands here, people giving tips to each other, what needs to be done, how to improve sales, how to improve numbers. And probably this is a question that's keeping a lot of salespeople sleepless in the nights and keeping their adrenaline levels high all day, trying to run after those leads and those sales closures. So let's ask the guru. I have with me expert today, Blanca Abbud, who is the sales expert from SWBC and who comes with no less than 19 years of experience in sales. So welcome, Blanca. Nice to have you on the show. So how has your day been?
Hi, everybody. My day is good. I'm working out of my mobile office right now. I just finished a sales meeting that went really well.
Okay. So I think you should tell us a little bit about what you did in the sales meeting while you talk about your introduction. So tell us about yourself, what you do, your background, and a little bit about your mission and how things work for you.
Definitely. So I'm born and raised in El Paso, Texas. And I moved to San Antonio in 2007, so about 11 years ago, which is where I work and live now. I've been in sales since I was 16, so I did a lot of retail sales prior to graduating college. And after college, I started in medical sales.
Mm-hmm.
My undergrad degree is in biology and chemistry, so naturally, I didn't want to work in a lab. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I went into medical sales. It was great. I enjoyed it very much. After that, I went into banking and selling financial services, as well
Mm-hmm.
as managing financial relationships for business clients and personal clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for 5 years, working at a bank. I realized that banking was very capped as far as your sales go, and I was never able to really sell at the potential that I wanted to sell. So
Mm-hmm.
after working at the bank for 5 years, I then started in the industry where I'm at now,
Uh-huh.
which is called PEO. It's
Uh-huh.
professional employer organization sales, but in essence, what it is the sales of HR outsourcing,
Oh,
and
okay.
consulting in areas of HR.
Okay.
So you asked me a question, and it has a lot to do with being a consultant. Being in
Okay.
sales and being good in sales has a lot to do with consulting and listening to your prospect, listening to your clients, because they're really going to tell you the way to sell them. So if
Okay.
you listen and develop a solution, a custom solution to their needs, then at some point you're no longer selling, you're consulting, and you become the subject matter expert. You become the expert that they want to reach out to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you kind of transition. So that's my history there, in a nutshell. I recently graduated from Texas A&M,
Mm-hmm.
with my MBA and a concentration in healthcare administration.
Mm-hmm.
So I still wanted to stay in the realm of healthcare, if and I was able to do that with a concentration in healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my mission is to be not only the expert consultant for my clients. My mission is to be a top producer for my company, to generate profits not only for my company that I work for, but also for my clients, to make them prosper, to make them more profitable, to help them reduce costs, and also help them become more efficient. I also have some personal goals that I pursue,
Mm-hmm.
and things that I like to do is I'm very involved in mentoring young women,
Mm-hmm.
and mentoring other women that are in sales and helping them along the way.
Fantastic.
And
Okay.
lastly, I'm very passionate about training and sharing my knowledge with
Uh-huh.
people. People always contact me. I get messages, countless messages and calls from all over the US, that people asking me, how did I do it? How do I do my day to day? How do I manage my time? How do I do my cold calling?
Uh-huh.
And so I think it's important for me to share some of my best practices on
Right.
this platform, so people can hear and can know that it's very possible for you yourself to be a top producer, if you follow certain guidelines and certain practices. So
Right, right. I did see a couple of your videos on LinkedIn prior to this interview, so I was very impressed with what you had to discuss. You
thank
spoke
you.
with such clarity. Um, See, this one question I wanted to know. mm, what we are here to talk about today, I mean, what my intention was, is trying to give something like simple techniques to there are a lot of entrepreneurs on this group. There are a lot of women entrepreneurs, and there are a lot of small business owners here. So let's kind of give them a little bit of what do you say, a set of techniques for good lead generation and how to close sales easily for small businesses or say startups too. So that's can we look at that area? Can you say something about that?
Yeah, sure. So I use a couple different techniques. But one of the main techniques that I use is it's a very grassroots method.
Hmm.
Um, I do a campaign that's called, call, email, drop campaign, where I'm actually calling prospects,
Hmm.
then I'm emailing, and then I actually stop by to introduce myself. So it's
Hmm.
not an actual sales call per se. It's more of a warm introduction, getting to know me as a person, and then getting also to know the business owner.
Hmm.
So that works very well for me. Uh, it also depends what level of sales experience you have. So
Okay.
depending what level you're at, I would use different approaches. So when I was new in the industry, I cold called a lot. I was on the phone constantly building my pipeline, constantly building my book of business. But
Hmm.
as I progressed through the cycle and I progressed to where I am today, I don't cold call as much as I used to.
Hmm.
But now most of my calls are very warm calls.
I
They're
see.
follow-up calls. They're calls, they're callback calls from
Hmm.
people that have or
Hmm.
that I've
Hmm.
already met with or spoken with, and I'm
Okay.
following back up. Or I've submitted proposals in the past, and just kind of touching them again. So they're very warmed up. So it just depends.
Uh-huh.
It's a progress. It
Right.
depends on your level. And so at the last level, the last stage, which is where I feel like I am right now, you should have built already by this time such a good ecosystem and a network that by your sixth, seventh, eighth year in whatever particular industry you're in, your phone, your email should then be ringing, and you should be getting referrals, a steady flow of referral business,
Hmm.
which is the stage where I am in now. Now that doesn't mean that I don't cold call. I
Hmm.
still stagger all the referrals that I'm getting with my cold calling techniques by either calling, emailing, or stopping by businesses,
Hmm.
and and essentially still going door to door, which is what I do a lot, and really introducing, really getting out there. That's why I say it's a grassroots approach, because I
Hmm.
really get out there in the
Hmm.
community. I get
Right.
out there at events. I'm out there with people, with business owners. I'm meeting with them in person.
In person. Right.
So,
Right.
mhm.
Right. Uh, that's interesting. Interesting. Why it becomes important for us to know about cold calling is that there are so many people here on my group who are small business owners, and they rely very much on the telephone. So one question here is to all those salespeople who rely on the telephone. Uh, they, I mean, everyone comes with an experience and some kind of training in cold calling, in sales on the for doing making sales on the phone, but people are gradually kind of trying to move out towards more various different ways of getting warm leads in other than through sources other than cold calling. In that way, has cold calling slowed down or is cold calling dead? How popular is it still?
So I think cold calling has slowed down, because there's such a bad stigma on cold calling, and I also think a lot of people are scared to cold
Uh-huh.
call. So I think it has definitely slowed down. In the past, I feel like that used to be the biggest method. I think it's also lack of training. These employees are just not trained properly in how to effectively conduct a cold call. So a lot it has to do with your techniques on the phone. If you can warm up people on the phone or make a connection on the phone with somebody that you've never met before.
Uh-huh.
I am able to do that and do it effectively so that when I'm meeting with somebody on the phone for the first time or I'm talking to them on the phone, I'm able to put those connections. It's a lot harder to do that when you're not face to face with the person.
Hmm.
So you have to be able to think fast. You have to already know your script. You have to know your elevator pitch. You have to know what you're going to say. You have to be prepared. And also preparation is key. So when you're making your cold calls, you need to have your script ready. You need to know what you're going to say. A lot of times who you're going to ask for is important as well. And then me personally, I don't sell over the phone. I actually enjoy selling in person unless
Hmm.
I cannot meet with that person. Then yes, I may do an actual meeting, but at the very initial meeting, I don't actually sell. I just I conversate. I have a conversation, and I like to get to know the person. So it's the comfort level also that you set.
Comfort level. Okay. Okay. So building comfort is important.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now here's a surprise question for you. So I use the phone too to sell. So while I'm talking to you, I'm taking notes from you. I'm studying your tips. So I'm here as a student. Now,
Okay.
okay. So when I pick up the phone and the moment I say, "Hey, this is Syed from ABC Corp," the guy on the other side, he knows I'm a sales guy.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Is there a way of circumventing that situation, not making it appear that you're a salesperson, but still being able to make your introduction, saying, "I'm Syed from ABC Corp." Can we change that in some way? Because this is the first line
Yes.
that is like make or break in a sales call, isn't it?
So the only way that you can change, I don't know if it's the only way, but I would say there's only a couple of ways to do that. Because a sales call is a sales call. You're gonna have to introduce yourself
Yeah, you
and
have to.
go from there, and wish the best, but hope for the best. But a way that I've been able to do that is to really bring up my brand recognition
Hmm.
and my brand. So once I make that call and I say, "Hey, this is Blanca Abbud,"
Hmm.
most people by then already know who I am, or they've seen my email, or they've heard my message,
If it's a warm
or
lead,
they've
yeah.
seen me on LinkedIn or at an event. So the way that you can go around that is really to become known in your industry and to really build a name and a brand for yourself so that
Hmm.
when you are calling,
Hmm.
there's more of a likelihood that people are going to know who you are. So it turns
Right.
it into not such a salesy
Yeah,
pitch
not
at
such a
that point.
salesy conversation, right? Okay. What are those two or three important tips that you would like to give my audience for
As
lead
far as,
generation, for cold calling, lead generation through cold calling?
yeah. So I like to say that prospecting and lead generation has a full circle, and it's composed of several different parts. So
Hmm.
you can't just focus on cold calling and not network. You can't just not network and then not cold call. You have to do everything. You have to fit in time in your time management plan to do the full circle of prospecting. In that circle, you're also creating an ecosystem within that circle so that creates lead generation. Now, one thing that I can tell you, or a tip, is that it's a consistent behavior and it takes time to build.
Right.
People look at me, but I'm in
Excellent.
my
Right.
seventh year in my industry, and before this I was in banking for 5 years. So once I hit year five, my cycle changed. I was at a different level.
Hmm.
So it's a consistent level of work that you have to maintain, and you have to hit all areas. So for me, it's not only cold calling, it's going door to door, it's also building my ecosystem, and it's also networking and being involved in the community. So it's multiple pieces that make up lead generation
Right.
and prospecting,
Right. If
and
somebody
doing it
has,
consistently.
okay, okay. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. If someone in your viewers has a question for you on maybe a technique or two, they would like to discuss more deeply on sales, or probably get to know about your own business or your involvements with SWBC, how do they reach out to you?
Yeah,
Of
you
course,
can
they'll be
contact me.
dropping comments here. Apart from that,
Yeah, So they can message me on LinkedIn. Look for my LinkedIn profile, Blanca Abbud,
Okay.
MBA. Also contact me via email at blanca.abud@swbc.com. Or you can also reach me on my business line at 210-790-5221.
That was great. That was great. Hey guys, so I hope you got a few answers here about lead generation and cold calling. So that was the intent, to bring in an expert who has actually been doing certain specific things we were interested in knowing about today. So if you do have any questions or want to reach out to Blanca, drop in your comments below. Ask your questions. We would be happy to answer and reach out to you, reach out back to you. So thank you so much, Blanca. Nice to have you here today, and thanks guys for watching.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Bye.